Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about introductory paragraphs. And I want to start by just making sure that you know that first impressions matter. If you didn't already know that, you may already. But this is not something that is only true in real life, it's something that is also true in essays. So, just to make it clear, if I were to walk in, I use this analogy every year. Say the first day of school, I come into class and I am like, hey y'all, let's learn some English today. We ain't gonna get too down into the details and the nitpickies, but we're just gonna talk some about some grammars and a few other things. Um, yeah, if that is how how you're introduced to me, you're probably not going to want to hear the rest of what I have to say on the topic of English, right? You're like, how do I transfer out of barber's class? I got to get this situation resolved. So keep that in mind. The same exact thing is always true with your writing. As a writer, it's important to make a conscious effort to be warm and welcoming to your reader. You want your reader to think, as they're going through the introduction paragraph, whoa, this person is clever and interesting. And I want to know more. I want to know more about this person. What do they have to say about the world? What do they think about it? That is what you hope happens when someone meets you in real life. And it's also what you hope happens when someone reads the first paragraph of your essay, or it should be. Because every essay that you write, somebody, usually your poor English teachers, have to read. So let's not fart stuff out and put it on paper, all right? We're over that. We're not doing that. Write something great. In order to get the reaction where somebody's like, yes, I want to read more, give me more, you're going to have to create a stylish, memorable, and effective introduction. So that is what we are about to get into. One of the things I like to talk about with introduction paragraphs is upside down pyramids. It looks like this. So, I mean, you're not going to actually draw an upside down pyramid or anything, but I think it's a really good visual for showing introductions because hooks really this is an attention grabbing strategy. It's just meant to get the reader hooked in. It is named after fishing, right? Like it is the bait. It's the hook. It's so you can reel your reader in. That's what you're trying to do. So the hook at face value may not seem like it is in any way connected to the topic of the essay. And it's broad. The last part is the thesis statement. It's the most narrow and specific part. So if you think of it as this way, like I say upside down triangle because we're starting broad and we are working our way down to the point. What is the point of this essay? What am I trying to communicate to you? Why am I writing this? That is the thesis statement, right? So we got to work our way down to that. And we start by being broad and kind of general about the topic that we're writing about. And in this case, you're writing about yourself. So we're going to look at some great strategies for the hook. But hooks are kind of out there. So we need this section in the middle, this bridge, to connect the hook and the thesis. And this is something that I see a lot of student writers accidentally leave out. They will have a hook, they will have a thesis statement, but there's no bridge. And what happens is a lot of times we take for granted that the people that are reading our writing don't have access to our brains. They don't have all of the context that we had, that we were thinking about when we were writing. And because they don't have the context, they may miss the connections. And we don't want that to happen. So that's what the bridge is for. The purpose it serves is to make a connection from the hook to the thesis statement. So, thesis statements, this is going to contain a subject and an opinion. It's going to have to convey an argument that the essay is then going to explain and prove. So, we're going to look now at some methods for hooks. Some of these, I'm just going to tell you, like, we're not doing this with this essay. And also, for this one, I encourage you not to do this at all, ever. I just think it's lazy. You may have been told in the past that a good way to begin an essay is with a question. That may be true, but the only time it is good is when it is an interesting question. And I have yet to see a student essay begin with an interesting question. Most of the hook questions that I have seen from student writers have been what I like to call Captain Obvious questions, or it's literally just the prompt worded as a question and then they answer it. That's not good. Don't do that. Another method that you can use is a metaphor. And technically, our mentor Costco essay does use a metaphor, but the hook, while it is a metaphor, isn't fully explained until the thesis statement. So what I would say is just make sure if you use a metaphor for a hook, an analogy where you're saying Costco as a child is the stem of where, like, it is the curiosity. It is a visualization of the curiosity that I still have. That's a strong metaphor. That's a strong analogy. And I think that's one reason that this student did so well and got accepted into these really prestigious universities. A vivid description. So with a vivid description, you're using imagery, including all of those five senses, explaining like what the flowers smelled like that day or the coffee that morning or the dog poop that you had to clean up off your rug, whatever. But the more imagery that you include, it is going to pull the reader in and it's going to make them feel included. And feeling included draws you in. So it's a great, great way to do that. And then humor is a great one. I love humor. And, not enough essay prompts really allow us to weave them in. So what I like about the college, application essays here is that all of these, it's appropriate to use humor. So I feel like if that's something that is in your wheelhouse and you feel like you want to pull it in, by all means do so. It can be kind of difficult to create that tone of humor in writing, but that's something that, we, your teachers, are here to help you with. So if you're working on weaving humor in, that might be a question to ask your English teacher as you're working on your introduction. Hey, are you picking up on the humor of this anecdote? And we'll let you know and we'll help you bring it out if you aren't. So just want to remind, these are the qualities, the most important qualities of a good hook. Take a risk, no matter which technique you use in your intro, or if you're combining multiple methods, like the writer of the Costco essay did. Just be original and take a risk, man. Boring writing is writing that is predictable. Just be weird. It's okay to be weird. Like I said earlier, with the college application essay, a lot of people are sending these and the admissions office is reading thousands of essays. So if you just start with a lazy quote or question, it's probably not going to make them want to keep reading. So I encourage you to be original and step outside of your comfort zone and try something a little different. Just make sure you can clearly connect whatever you do to your thesis statement in the end of the paragraph, because if you can't, it won't work. You've got to be able to communicate to your reader the line of reasoning and where you're going with the idea. All right. So let's look at the actual mentor text. This is the hook. I'm going to show you each of these three components. So mentor text hook. And as I'm looking through these, I want you guys to consider which strategies you see in this hook. Managing to break free from my mother's grasp, I charged. With arms flailing and chubby legs fluttering beneath me, I was the ferocious 2-year-old rampaging through Costco on a Saturday morning. My mother's eyes widened in horror as I jettisoned my churro. The cinnamon sugar rocket gracefully sliced its way through the air while I continued my spree. I sprinted through the aisles, looking up in awe at the massive bulk products that towered over me. Overcome with wonder, I wanted to touch and taste, to stick my head into the industrial-sized freezers, to explore every crevice. I was a conquistador. But rather than searching the land for El Dorado, I scoured aisles for free samples. Before inevitably being whisked away into a shopping cart, I scaled a mountain of plush toys and surveyed the expanse that lay before me, the kingdom of Costco. So think about the strategies that we just talked about. Which ones do you notice in this introduction hook? Go ahead, I'll wait. So if you said that you noticed a personal story, humor, imagery, you're right. All of those things are in here. And that is one reason I think that this essay was so effective, because it started off so strong and it does draw the reader in and make them feel like they're there. And one of the things that you guys mentioned whenever y'all were discussing the essay online in the discussion board was that these are also very relatable moments in her life. Most people can relate to memories of being a small child overwhelmed in like a big store by all of the things that there were to see and touch. And so it works. Okay. So the bridge. Remember, we're talking upside down triangle. I'm trying to look in the camera while I do it so I can make sure I'm doing it right. Yeah, upside down triangle. That's what we're going for. So the hook is the most out there part of your paper. Now you have to connect your hook to the thesis statement that you're going to end the paragraph with. So you start that connection by being closer to your hook. You're closer to the hook side. And you're going to be kind of working your way, like we said, upside down triangle. The bridge is like the process of getting to the point. So the hook is like just to reel the reader in. The bridge is I'm walking you to the point of my essay and why I'm writing it. It's just making that connection. So still like avoid these, what I call Captain Obvious statements. Don't just say something that is obvious and everybody knows it. And you want to just kind of continue narrowing it down until you find yourself discussing the specific focus of your paper. And, you know, your first draft of your introduction paragraph may be way longer than what you end up with. That's okay. We can work through making it, shaping it and getting it exactly where you want it to be. So this is the bridge of the mentor text, right? We just looked at the hook, and I want you to look at this bridge now. And while we're looking at the bridge, I want you to be thinking, where's this going? How is this narrowing down to the main idea of the essay? Okay. Before this, it was just imagery of what it is like to be at Costco as a small toddler. Okay, so this is the bridge. Notorious for its oversized portions and $1.50 hot dog combo, Costco is the apex of consumerism. From the days spent being toted around in a shopping cart to when I was finally tall enough to reach lofty sample trays, Costco has endured a steady presence throughout my life. As a veteran Costco shopper, I navigate the aisles of foodstuffs, thrusting the majority of my weight upon a generously filled shopping cart, whose enormity juxtaposes my small frame. Over time, I've developed a habit of observing fellow patrons tote their carts piled with frozen burritos, cheese puffs, tubs of ice cream, and weight loss supplements. Perusing the aisles gave me time to ponder. Who needs 3 pounds of sour cream? Was cultured yogurt any more well-mannered than its uncultured counterpart? So we get a little more humor here in the bridge, but I also want you to notice what's happening. We've moved beyond just imagery. At the beginning, she acknowledges what Costco is known for: consumerism. People buying stuff, right? And then we get this setup where she's saying, in the hook, I was a little bitty kid, but now I am a veteran Costco shopper. I'm still there. I'm still doing it. And so that's one shift in the bridge. We're seeing time has passed. She is now an adult, or at least almost. um, then we get into this part. Over time, over all of the years that she's been shopping at Costco, something has happened. She started watching people. While she was watching people, she started wondering things. She started noticing details in the store. 3-pound tubs of sour cream. Who needs that much? That seems obscene, you know? So I hope that you guys can see the way that she's narrowing from the hook as she's working her way to the thesis. She's narrowing this down. The thesis statement is just the last sentence in an introduction paragraph. It needs to be very clear, very direct answer to the prompt. It's just a very clear, very direct answer to the prompt. It should give the focus of the essay. One thing I like to always say is no false advertising with your thesis statement. Do not promise your reader. I mean, a thesis it's a promise to your reader. I'm going to be talking about this. So that would be like if I said, today we're going to learn about tacos. And I'm going to bring tacos for everybody. And then I was like, nope, we're talking about thesis statements. Let's just talk about thesis statements. There's no tacos. You're going to be mad, right? That's how I'm going to feel when I'm reading your essay. If in the thesis statement you tell me that, you know, your work ethic is everything, and that I'm thinking that's what your essay is going to be about, but then you start writing about how you're trustworthy. And I would be like, what? We said work ethic, you know? Where's my tacos, man? Give me my tacos. That's all I'm saying. I want tacos. Okay. So this is the thesis statement for our mentor text. It is one very short sentence. And the question here is, what is the point of the essay? Costco gave birth to my unfettered curiosity. She has now fully connected this anecdote with all of this imagery about being in Costco as a toddler to how she is now an adult. She started making observations of shoppers and of products at Costco that have led to her asking questions. The point of this essay is Costco gave birth to her curiosity. As you're working on your introduction paragraphs, you need to make sure that you have a strong bridge. It's how your reader's going to know how the heck you got from point A to point B, how the heck you got from Costco to your unfettered curiosity. All right, so here I just took all of the parts and I put them together on the upside down triangle just so you can kind of have a visual of it. And we see, again, hook with an imagery-filled anecdote, a bridge that connects Costco to curiosity, and a thesis statement that very clearly tells us the point of the essay. If you have a strong intro paragraph like this, you have everything you need to make the rest of the essay every bit as strong.